What is up, guys? Welcome back to DC Extra. My name is Chris. Today we're going to be covering something that we don't usually do, and that is the comics of the DC Universe. And for this video, I'm going to be covering the Dark Crisis comics for both May and June. Only one of them came out in May, but yeah, it's predominantly June. So there's going to be 4 parts to this video. One of them is covering the first comic that got released, which is Road to Dark Crisis number 1. Then we'll do Dark Crisis number 1, Dark Crisis Young Justice number 1, and The Flash 783. And all these are a part of the event that is happening in the DC Comics called Dark Crisis. And right now on screen, I'll put up a checklist if you want to go and see what else is going to be coming. Anyway, heading into the breakdown of Road to Dark Crisis number 1. So after the death of the Justice League, which happened in Justice League 75, the current Superman of Earth, Jor-El, who is Kal-El's son, visits Nightwing in Gotham, where he worries about the possibility of his father along with the rest of the Justice League being dead. And Dick reminds John of all the times the various heroes have died and then resurrected in the past, focusing on specifically Superman, Batman, and the Flash. Dick has faith that the League will return from the dead like they have done countless times before. After John asks Dick to speak at a vigil honouring the League, he gets mad, indicating that he may be in denial. Then Kid Amazo attacks and Nightwing along with Superman fight him together. Also, after this fight, Dick agrees to talk at the vigil. Meanwhile, in Central City, Wally and Linda talk to Iris about Barry's disappearance, where he has been missing for a month or 2. The Flash, who is currently Wally West, along with Kid Flash, who is currently Wallace West. It's a bit confusing, but let's move on from that. The 2 speedsters fight crime now that the criminals believe they have an opportunity to strike, with the Justice League being dead. We then see Hal Jordan chasing an alien through space before it crashes into the ocean on Earth, where Hal calls for Arthur, not aware of the League's death. While Arthur is not able to help, Jackson does, and while assisting, he tells him that the League are dead. After defeating the alien, Hal plans to investigate the death of the League, where he tells Jackson and the rest of the young heroes to take a stand. In a flashback to before the death of the Justice League, Pariah is hunted by ghosts of his family, telling him to build a machine, one that was used to destroy the multiverse in years past, that happening in Crisis on Infinite Earths. He fights against this idea, but after being told that it was the only way to save the multiverse, he agrees to help save the world, referencing My Great Darkness, which is only a good omen. And by that I mean it is very bad. Back in the present day, we see Nocturna going to a museum to steal some jewelry. Classic bad guy move, I know. But of course, Batgirl stops her, and the Batgirl that we are seeing here is Stephanie, as there are currently 3 in DC continuity. But they don't fight, they instead have a chat. And Stephanie leaves Nocturna and tells her not to steal anything, having a lot of faith in a criminal, just saying. Anyway, then when Nocturna leaves the museum, she's approached by Firefly, who asks her to join a secret society that consists of many characters that I assume are all villains, but I don't recognize most of them. However, I did pick out Gerda and Silver Banshee, 2 villains, so surely the rest of them are. However, the comic ends before we get Nocturna's answer to the proposal. However, from her face, I think that she may not end up joining that secret society. Alright, now taking a dive into Dark Crisis issue 1. This comic starts off with Nightwing making a speech that was alluded to in the previous issue, and he honours the Justice League in this speech, and at the very end we see that Deathstroke is attending here, and this is alluding to a bigger role he will play in this storyline. Then we see Superman and the Flash, John Kent and Wally West respectively, and they are fighting the Cobra Cult, and they believe that the cult has become a bit more desperate to attack, like they are running out of time. Then Black Adam recounts the events of Justice League issue 75, where the Justice League died, and he repeats the events to Hal, Wally and John. However, Hal is not as trusting as the rest of the heroes in believing Black Adam's story, due to his past as a villain. Hal and Wally then plan to look into the death of the League, while John stays on Earth to protect the people from the upsurge in violence. John goes to find Wonder Girl, currently Yara Flor, to ask her to join a new team of heroes, with the Justice League gone. However, she declines this offer. Next, he attempts to recruit Batman, who is Jace Fox, as Bruce Wayne is dead with the rest of the League, but he also declines this offer. So we then see a montage of him recruiting various people, and some of them say yes, and eventually we have a formed new Justice League. Black Adam believes that John's idea of forming the new league is foolish and he's not ready to lead them. Next we see Deathstroke along with the Secret Society from last issue attack Titan's Tower, and presumably they kill Beast Boy here, so kinda brutal. Then we see Pariah giving the classic villain monologue, detailing all his evil plans, and he says that he's going to use the death of the League to destroy the multiverse, and also mentions that he does need more heroes from Earth-9 to presumably power some sort of device or give him power. On the last panel of this comic, we see some small bubbles with the heroes from the Justice League inside of them, and these are supposed to be the dead heroes, so I assume Pariah has somehow harnessed their power, and they are not actually dead, but somehow trapped inside, waiting to be freed. Now moving on to the third issue of this event, we have Dark Crisis Young Justice issue 1. And this issue starts off with Cassie, also known as Wonder Girl, monologuing her internal thoughts regarding the death of the Justice League, and how it affects not only her, but the rest of Young Justice. That being Superboy, Connor Kent, Robin, Impulse, and honorary member Sissy, who also used to be Arrowette, but she claims that she's done with that life, so we'll wait and see if that's true. The team reconnect after a long time of not seeing each other, facing troubles in the process. After a little while longer, Robin, Superboy, and Impulse disappear and wake up in their own alternate reality. The three heroes meet up and attempt to figure out what is happening, and how they have ended up in this alternate reality. Back in the real world, Cassie attempts to ask Sissy for help, but before she gets the chance to ask, she's shot down. Going back to the fake reality, we see the boys go try to help someone who is in trouble, and they run into the Mighty Endowed. And, well, yeah, I'm going to move on from that. Once again, Cassie attempts to get help in finding the boys, but before she does, she's shot down again, and again, and again. Then going back to Tim, Bart, and Connor, we see them again fighting the Mighty Endowed, and when they are getting beaten, Wonder Girl comes to rescue. Or is it Wonder Girl? Now moving on to The Flash issue 783. This issue starts off with the Flash family planning to rescue Barry with the help of Mr. Terrific. Before entering the Speed Force to search for Barry, Linda and the kids show up, and while Linda attempts to tell Wally that she has gained powers, as seen in previous issues of The Flash, Jay and Irie enter the Speed Force to try help, pushing the other speedsters to follow closely behind. Before we follow Irie and Jay, Mr. Terrific comforts Linda about the power she has gained. We then see the twins appear in what appears to be an alternate reality, with Alan Tower in the skyline, and it looks like a version of Batman is lurking behind them. However, the emblem on his suit kind of resembles the lightning bolt on the Flash suit. Then we see Jesse and Max in a desert, with this version of Barry driving a car. But then we see another version of Barry that fights Captain Cold after spending some time with his wife and kids. But before the comic ends, we cut back to Wally and Wallace, or Ace as he is commonly referred to, and they overlook the version of Barry that has just fought and defeated Captain Cold, with the intent of figuring out what is going on. Alright, so that is the end of all the comics for this month. And just before we end the video, I want to give my review of all of them. So starting with Road to Dark Crisis, this issue predominantly sets up what I assume will be explored in the rest of the event, and a few of these things have already been explored, as we have seen in the following few events. And I found that the Pariah and Secret Society aspects of this story were particularly interesting, and I believe that they can be explored a lot more, as I'm sure they will. And as for Dark Crisis issue 1, this explores the repercussions of the death of the Justice League, not only on the remaining heroes, but also on the public. I really like how John is trying to set up a new team, even though some of his choices are a bit questionable. But I do hope that some of the bigger names like Wonder Girl and Batman decide to join up. And again, the threat of the Secret Society is explored, and I Would have liked if they included a few more panels of this, but undoubtedly we will get more in the following issues. And as for Young Justice, I straight up really enjoyed this just because of the team. I read the Young Justice comics a while ago and I love that, and seeing them together again is always really nice. The alternate reality stuff is a little bit confusing at times, but I'm sure it'll get explained further in the following issues. And one thing that I found quite interesting was the appearance of Wonder Girl right at the end, because to me it seems like it might not be her, at least the version of her we know from the real reality. And the reason I think this is, first of all, because of the costume, it's slightly different. But that can just be swept under the rug as a bit of a costume change or something. But primarily what makes me think this is a different version of Cassie is that right before that panel, we see her kind of sulking over how she couldn't help the guys, only to appear in the next panel doing that. So unless it gets explained as somehow her thoughts towards this made her appear there, I don't think it's her. And in my opinion, I think it's her from this alternate reality that the rest of the team is in. And then going on to the Flash. Once again, I love this comic. The Flash family is always awesome to see, especially Jay and Ari. I've been loving them in the Flash comics. And expanding further on Linda's powers is great. I'm intrigued to see how that ends up panning out. And again, alternate reality stuff kind of a bit confusing, but I'm assuming that this is all happening in the Speed Force, so that's kind of a bit of an explanation at least. And it'll be interesting to see how the Flash family go about navigating their way through these new realities, or the Speed Force, whatever it is, and eventually how they end up finding Barry. Also, I suppose they got to find Jay and Irie now as well, so that's going to be quite interesting also. Anyway, that was all the comics in the Dark Crisis event released this month. In the next month, I will be covering Dark Crisis Issue 2, Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League, Dark Crisis Young Justice Issue 2, and The Flash Issue 784. So I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this. And leave any feedback, theories, or opinions in the comments below. But until next time, this has been Chris, and I'll be seeing ya.